Hello, great people. President Bola Tinubu has issued a stern warning to the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi. He has told him that, hey, Obi, stay off my affairs, stay off my matters, stay off anything that concerns me and my government, and mind your utterances as regards what you say about things that are happening in Nigeria. I am the president, you are not, and I am doing a good job, so be mindful of your utterances. This is coming as a result of what Mr. Peter Obi said during the birthday colloquium of the former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Emeka Ihedioha. Obi said a lot, and in a moment, I'll leave you to watch the video of what Mr. Peter Obi said at the birthday colloquium. Then when we come back, we'll be dissecting the associated issues. What is the reality in what Peter Obi said? What is the extent of professionalism in the response of the presidency, and what is the performance of Bola Tinubu as regards what Peter Obi said, in the sense of that Nigerian democracy is failing? We'll be dissecting these issues and a whole lot more on this episode with your short blog, Dr. Omoshola. Let's go and watch the video of Mr. Peter Obi, then we come back for some great discussion. Let's watch it.
They started in 1999, laid the foundation. Some people came and took it to a decking, and some people were trying to raise it to first floor, and some people came and knocked everything down. That's the situation where we are now. Everything has been knocked down. Nothing works. And I'm somebody who can say this exemplarily. I became a governor through the court when President Obasanjo and Atiku were in government. I did not pay the court 1 naira. I was sitting in my house in the office, and the court declared me winner. When a governor is hosting them, it can happen in Nigeria today. When I was being impeached, the president sent people to come and intervene on my behalf. Ken Namani came begging house people not to impeach me. Today, the president impeaches the person. So that is the thing, so it's collapsed. So it's failed. They were begging my house not to impeach me. And they were PDP. I was in Africa. And they were begging. President was calling me and said, Peter, are you okay? Well, even when I was impeached, President Obasanjo called me and said, are you okay? Are you safe? When I go back from the court, when court eventually declared me under Andiuba, President Yar'Adua called my phone in London and said, congrats. I said, President, I can't come back because, you know, if I come back, these people, he said, tell me the flight in which you're coming back. And I told him, when I came in the first time, military people came to receive me at the airport. I couldn't believe it and took me straight to him. Now the president will ask me not to come back here again. So it failed. Let's talk about how we are going to rebuild it. It's collapsing.
There you have it. You just watch the video of Mr. Peter Obi. You hear what Mr. Peter Obi said. Is there any untrue in what Mr. Peter, is there any lie in what he said? I look forward to your comment in the comment section. And if you are yet to subscribe, of course, do well to subscribe to this channel. Now, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, one of the media aide of the president, has responded to Mr. Peter Obi, and also Daniel Bwala responded to Mr. Peter Obi. Now, from what Mr. Peter Obi said, this is the response of Mr. Bayo Onanuga. Then we analyze the associated issues as regards it. As you can see on your screen, Mr. Bayo Onanuga said, I listened multiple times to former Governor Peter Obi's statement in this clip, where he claims that democracy has collapsed in Nigeria. His hyperbolic remarks, suited for headlines, have been made without deep reflection and lack a solid logical foundation. How can a democracy that has strengthened over the past 26 years be said to have collapsed? Only a discontented and disgruntled Peter, who benefits from the very free speech democracy provides, could perceive such a democratic downfall through his lens. If democracy has indeed collapsed, as Peter claims, and we are living under a regime antithetical to democratic principles, he would not have been able to make his comments on Monday at Emeka Ihedioha's colloquium. I will urge him to watch what he says and restrain himself from playing to the gallery. That is the statement of Mr. Bayo Onanuga. Now let us dissect the associated issues as regards this statement. First, from the first line of Bayo Onanuga's statement, he said, I listened multiple times to former Governor Peter Obi's statement in this clip. First, for you to listen multiple times, it means that Peter Obi is important. For you to listen multiple times, as a presidential media aide, as a busy person, for you to listen and listen and listen, it shows that Mr. Peter Obi is important. And for you to listen repeatedly, it shows that you either lack the intelligence to provide a stern criticism when you watch the video once, or you have to watch it repeatedly so that you can just find something to spin out and just so that you can respond to Mr. Peter Obi. And if you look at it very well, Mr. Bayo Onanuga went off-road to begin to compare the Tinubu presidency with a kind of like the military regime that he said that if democracy doesn't exist in Nigeria, that he won't be able to have this free speech. No, Mr. Bayo, with profound respect, sir, you are wrong in the sense that you cannot be comparing the Tinubu, a democratic government, with the military government that if there's no democracy, you won't be able to have free speech. No, you should be listing the democratic credentials of your principal and be comparing it with former democratic administration. You should be saying how your government have provided free speech, how it has enabled free speech, comparing with another democratic organization, another democratic administration, maybe that of Goodluck Jonathan, Yar'Adua, Obasanjo, or even Muhammadu Buhari. But for you to leave all those ones to now go to the military administration, and you are comparing, they are discussing democracy, free speech, you are now going to compare that, oh, if there's no democracy in Nigeria, that means that if you are saying that if Mr. Peter Obi feels that there's no democracy in Nigeria, that if truly democracy is not in Nigeria, that he won't be able to speak like this. That means that you are saying that if Nigeria were to be under a democratic rule, would he be able to speak like this? No, you are wrong. You should be comparing with the past government and be telling Nigerians what your principal has done better, how freedom of speech, how human rights, how development has increased under your principle, other than to attack the personality of Mr. Peter Obi. I have more comment on the comment of Bayo Onanuga, but let me read for you the statement of Daniel Buala. Daniel Buala says, it is funny how failed politicians are trying to redefine democracy. As Peter Obi said, democracy had collapsed. Does he even know the meaning of democracy? When people are fighting for democracy, Gregory was buying and selling. He doesn't have a history of any democratic activism from his school days to date. His expertise lies in instigating hate speech and vitriol. Buala. Now, that is according to Daniel Buala. But what I can say, before I go back to that of Bayo Onanuga, is I think the Tinubu boys need, some kind of training in how to respond presidentially to criticism, especially from the political opponent of Bola Tinubu. Maybe they need a refresher course, because if you look at the statement of Daniel Buala, if you look at it, he said, when Peter Obi has history of buying and selling, everybody must not participate in democratic activism. You cannot use somebody, everybody has his own specialization. Muhammadu Buhari did not participate in democratic activism. He even truncated democracy, yet he came to become the president. If Muhammadu Buhari can become the president of Nigeria despite truncating a democratically elected government in the 80s, now, who is more qualified? Somebody that is just doing his own private business, buying and selling, or somebody that even truncated democracy in Nigeria? And that person is even from your party, the APC. That's why I said the Tinubu boys needs a refresher course. They need that special training on how to respond to public criticisms, especially from some public figures, so that they don't end up embarrassing their principal. Because if I were to be a spokesperson to Peter Obi, this is one of the response that we give you, and you just go and sleep or just keep quiet. So they need to have this special training on how to respond to public criticisms. And sometimes you just take the message and just you don't dish out attack to people. And one thing I've realized is most times, especially Mr. Bayo Onanuga, is that he behaves like he's still in the opposition. Maybe because he has spent ample time in the opposition, so he behaved like he's still in the opposition. His response is often laced with abuse, threats, and attacks rather than substance. That's one thing I've discovered about Bayo Onanuga in particular. So, and from today's child and be looking at his response, you may find it interesting that why is this man responding as if he's still in the opposition? Why is his response always laced with abuse and attack rather than substance? You should be consolidatory to your principal. You should be persuasive. You should know how to dialogue and not to be kind of like issuing both subtle and strong attacks to the opposition of your principal. And you don't threaten a democratic candidate with over 6 million votes. If somebody contests an election and it was close to that election that that person contests for that election and that person was able to garner over 6 million votes, you don't issue threat to a prospective president. Peter Obi is a prospective president. Atiku Abubakar too is a prospective president. They have strong potentials. They have high tendency of emerging as the president of Nigeria. So in that kind of instance, you can call them prospective presidents. So you that you have never contested the election before, because you are appointed by the president, you are now dishing out both abuses, threats and all that to presidential candidates. Then I think he needs to be cautioned by his principal. What he could have shown is the democratic record of Bola Tinubu. What has Bola Tinubu done to strengthen the democratic process in Nigeria? That's what Bayo Onanuga should have done. He should have, listed what Bola Tinubu has done to strengthen the democratic process in Nigeria. What are the legislative reforms that Tinubu has done? What are the things that Bola Tinubu has put in place to strengthen democracy? Is Bola Tinubu committed to electronic voting? Is he committed to electronic transmission of results? What has he done in that regard to strengthen such process? Those should be what Bayo Onanuga should be saying in response to Peter Obi, and he should also be listing out empirical facts about his principal, democratic fact, in the sense that how did his principal handle the Lagos State House of Assembly when the Lagos lawmakers rejected Mudashiru Obasa? Did your principal Bola Tinubu allow the wish of the Lagos lawmakers to sail through? Did he not override them? Is that not a trample on democracy? Is that not a trample of the right of those lawmakers? So should we say that Bola Tinubu has little or no democratic credentials? That's why Bayo Onanuga couldn't use the Lagos case as an example to save his principal. And also look at what happened in Rivers State, whereby the president, declared a state of emergency. You are an elected president. You decide to sack, somebody at the subnational that was elected just like you. So could it be that the president has little or no democratic credentials? That's why Bayo Onanuga could decide to respond in such a manner, because he has nothing to kind of like say about his principal. And that is why I usually say that it's very difficult to defend some certain people. And also, you need to do well in your capacity, even if there are no strong democratic credentials, to know how to structure your defense to the opposition in such a way that you don't bring ridicule to your principal. Now, the Tinubu that can't hold public criticisms now critique the hell out of Goodluck Jonathan. He protested against Goodluck Jonathan. Bola Tinubu said, let the poor breathe. Are the poor breathing now? So you don't expect people to keep quiet under such circumstances. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola. Do want to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course I have great interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.